White picket dream ideas though. Honestly, no. Like I've come back. I've started talking to people that I've not seen in like 3 years, right, and some of them 5 years, and they've had
Mm.
exactly the same thing. They just want to kind of sit where they are and build this, and I'm jealous of it. I'm really envious of it because my brain will not let me do that yet. Maybe
No,
it never lets me do that, but who the fuck knows? Um,
that's it. Yeah, we'll find out when we're 80.
yeah, you're just like, I fucked up. Oh well, I'll have another whiskey. You
What do
know?
they say? Goals should be achievable, I don't know, realistic and within a timeline or something. That's the
Yeah.
three things that a goal needs. And none of my goals seem to have any of those.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because I'm exactly the same. If I
Mm.
make a goal, I'm like, well, I can hit that. You know,
Yes.
it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it's suddenly less enticing as a goal.
No, I'm like, whatever. I don't really care. I don't feel any spidey sense about it. It's no tingling going on. But if I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna run across water. You're like, yeah, let's do it. Fuck
Yeah.
this. Let's go.
I'll spend every minute of every day
Yeah,
chasing that
it's
dream.
it's it's not good. Maybe we are
Mm.
just like kind of, those quote unquote special kids in the corner of the class where you just like give them what they need, and they're just going to achieve high
That's
things.
what
But then
yeah, I feel like I have to hope that's going to be the case. Otherwise, I'll just keep chasing.
when it goes back to people, right? Differences in people.
Mm.
Everybody's slightly different. I don't know about you, but I'm dyslexic as shit. So I'm like, okay,
Ah,
I gotta try and like, if everything's kind of written down, which is kind of ironic because I write poetry and all that, but that to kind of put that on the back burner.
maybe that's why you see language in a different way that we normies can't. So you
Maybe,
see poetry where we can't.
maybe I don't know. I don't know. That's getting all hairy fairy, but that's kind of like yeah, I see poetry as like just kind of harnessing feeling into words, and
Mm.
words don't necessarily mean anything. They can mean nothing but everything at the same time, and it's down to you to create that magic. I just kind of put those together, and we can then connect over
Mm.
a feeling that might not be the same over the same word, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but I don't
The
know. I
first
just say
poem
I'm
I ever
nuts.
wrote. The first poem I ever wrote, I tore a ligament in my knee when I was 18, and I
Ooh,
was suddenly without sport for it was my
yeah.
first ever injury was at 18. So I was pretty lucky in one regard, but also very unlucky that I was older and was suddenly without sport, which took up 90% of my time. I was like, what can I do? And so I just started writing all this angry poetry. But then I was like, oh, this is so good. Now like suddenly it's happy poetry again.
It's definitely it's definitely something that we should probably do more of in school is like the
Mm.
the arts, and that kind of like hurts my younger self because if I'd have heard the word art as a kid, I'd have probably given you a middle finger. I'm just been like, let me just go out and train and play sport and run around and throw bricks
Yeah.
and just kind of be an asshole, or whatever you whatever you do in the north of England, mainly freeze
Yeah.
your balls off at all times, even in summer. But I think there's something to be said. I think we should kind of take some time out of the intellectual 2 plus 2
Mm.
is for okay, learn how to do this, that, and the other. Surds, I don't know what it is. Algebra, still don't get it. Why don't we
Mm.
just spend a little bit of time like trying to figure that out? And I think there's something to be said about philosophy, sociology, and all those like fringe subjects.
100%. And just something that's not goal based, I think is really important. Because you
Mm.
think everything in maths, all of that, you kind of get an exam mark back at the end. But if there was something for kids, it was like, we're not marking you on success here. We're just here to explore and think. I think it would be really useful to like train your brains in a bit of a different way.
Yeah, it's different, right? And I think it helps with
Mm.
that communication with people.
Mm.
You can kind of understand yourself a little bit more, and then you can then understand the world around and people around you that little bit more,
Mm.
right? And maybe we're just no longer butting heads and we can actually converse with one another.
Oh, 100%. I think every negative feeling I've like ever had about someone else or to someone else is something that I've been wrestling with inside that I'm just projecting out. And then the second that is not an issue in my life anymore, I'm like, I would never care about that thing in someone else again. And it's
Mm.
just how you unpick that in yourself. And if you can have empathy towards yourself, then you can have empathy towards others, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. Like I came across this thing the other day. It was just like any conflict is a form of self-hatred.
Mm,
And you're just like,
love that.
oh, wow, okay. And you kind of sit with it a minute and you're like, whoa, Yeah, this is kind of true.
Mm,
How do we get through that? And yeah, it's quite weird. Kind of visiting Eastern countries, talking to people from
mm,
Eastern countries, and they're like, "You are so further ahead than the Western world," and we like to think, quote unquote, we are the smarter side of the
mm.
planet. You're like, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
Like, no, we need to learn from each other. So I like travel.
100%.
Travel culture just kind of throw me in. Hey guys, just this white guy that blends in with a piece of paper, you know, blonde hair, blue eyed. Hey, like not very good at writing things down nor reading it, but it's like, oh yeah, let's go pick up some rocks and train and then drink tea together and get plastered and
Mm,
whatever people want to do. Smoke shisha,
yeah,
whatever. When in Rome.
yeah.
Where's the best place you've been?
Oh, I love Sri Lanka. I've
Mm.
been twice because my parents moved there for a year. So when they were living there, I went and bummed around in their apartment for like 4 or 5 months. And I just,
Wow.
speaking of things to learn, the people there, everyone moves at a slower pace, but it was just, I found it so refreshing, and I love the food. The food was unreal, and you have every climate. Like the geography is beautiful. And the second time I went, I learned to drive a tuk tuk and drove
Uh-huh.
across the country. And that's the best holiday I've been on by 200 kilometers. It was so good. And obviously, even just seeing, because women, it's not as common for women to drive there, let alone a white woman driving, and seeing people's faces, I was like, that was priceless. If I could bottle that feeling, I would.
It's like, hey guys, don't
Yeah,
mind me. I'm just
yeah,
kind of like, doing my thing.
exactly. When I stalled, I was like, okay, now turn around, turn around.
Yeah.
I'm living up to expectations.
Like a hill start, you're like, oh fuck, here we go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think? What would you think is the main thing that you learned from spending 4 or 5 months in Sri Lanka?
I think what I was saying before about goal based living, I feel like I have a real part of my brain that's just super motivated by targets. And
Mm.
I find I'm happier when I'm just sort of doing and
Yeah.
living and experiencing. And in my my job, and in even going to the gym, it's like my focus will be like, how much heavier can I lift every session, and how much can I, how many people can I call today with work, or how, whatever the goal might be. And when you're on a holiday, that just seems to float out the window. And you're just like, I'm just going to sit at this coffee shop for 2 hours. And then someone comes up and talks to you. So you talk back, and then you go, well, I'll now follow you for a week, and we're going to live together. And I just, that, if I could somehow capture that and bring it into my life more, and it's a bit of a practice because obviously having goals is really important, but
Mm.
having that freedom to just live each day in a completely flexible way and go with exactly what you're feeling each minute is, I find, is so freeing.
Don't you think? Don't you think it's better having both? Having times
Well,
of the year
exactly.
or
Yeah,
times of the life? Yeah.
100%. You need balance to survive, right? Otherwise, I'd be off, I don't know, at some party for 5 days and never come home and have no money and no apartment. But there's something about being on holiday that just I don't sweat the small stuff. I suppose I'm just
Mm.
like, if something would normally bother me, I'm like, well, whatever, that doesn't matter.
Mm.
On we go with the day.
Oh, that's so cool, man. Like that's really cool hearing that because it's pretty much what this whole thing is. Whatever we're doing, where we click a button and people listen to conversation, it's a bit weird, but that's what it is. Of just like, oh yeah, you can kind of float from one thing to the next, learn from each of them, and then kind of like do your life rather than just be solidified in nah, nah, nah. I'm Alex. I'm the guy who walks in the gym and lift weights and fuck emotions and whatever. Or oh no, I'm that person who sits down and cries into a notebook. I can't do anything else. It's like you do realize you have the capability of doing literally anything. Like just kind of take the expectation off yourself and float
Mm,
around, right? And just be like, whoa, I've learned so much. And I even had a
mm,
conversation recently. It was regarding coaching, but again, it kind of taught me so much in the sense of okay, lived and worked in the UK for a long time, kind of know how we structured here, went over to New Zealand, did the same thing for 3 years, kind of know how they structured there. But I'm always like, but what do they know over there? What do
mm,
the Aussies know that I don't know? How can I learn from them? And then what can I give to them? And maybe when I kind of fuck off out of Dodge, maybe then that can then be passed on, And I'm like, oh, well, what do they know? And it's kind of this ever going pursuit of like, I need to learn. Teach me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What can I take from everyone till I'm the superhuman?
Pretty
Yeah,
much, yeah.
I was supposed to go on a 6 month trip to Indonesia this year.
Wow.
Unfortunately, me and my ex planned it together, and in the breakup, I lost the Indonesia trip. But I've got now got this like bank set up, and I'm like, okay, now where do I want to go? I've got this big pool of money. So I'm now in the process of picking my next like sort of long travel trip to do. I'm so excited. So I'm going to go probably June, July next year, and it's exactly that. I'm just like looking forward to sort of seeing the way another part of the world works and seeing what I can take from it.
Yeah, disappear, just bounce.
Mm. Mm.
Just bounce from one place to the next. Like the recent book I kind of published was like, it's called The Wanderer and the Witch, and it's exactly that. It's just kind of the dude just kind of bouncing from place to place and just like following wherever. Just goes, kind of follows his quote unquote heart, rather than just, oh yeah, I have this planned out, then I got to be there at that time. And I was like, we live by the clock a little bit too much, I think. We
Yeah,
just need
great.
to just figure it out. Sit in
Mm.
a coffee shop for literally an entire day, you know, drinking copious amounts of caffeine, which I do anyway, but that's a different story. And just be like, I don't know, write things down, talk to the locals, learn a couple of slogans. It's a really, really cool experience. And I think
Same question. Same question back to you. What's your favorite place you've been to?
favorite place.
Mm.
Oh, fuck me, Dad.
I'll give you a minute of thinking time.
Mm. I think that I've taken something. I like to take something from everything, um, even if it's not a place and it's an experience, and I'm like, I royally fucked up, or I royally got fucked over. I'm like, I gotta take something good out of this, or
Mm.
I gotta take a lesson out of this, rather than just burn the bridge. Like, I don't really want to do that no more. Like, I was pretty bad, as a younger lad, and I don't really want to be that guy anymore. So I think every place has given me something. Like, Iceland is a
Mm.
mega place. That's really cool.
Mm.
I really,
Mm.
really enjoyed that. South Africa, unreal. You
Mm.
know, um, I don't know. I like the little spaces within countries where I can just kind of disappear.
Yeah.
I really liked Croatia. In fact, I
Ah.
would live in Croatia and just kind of, live by the ocean, walk down, buy your €2 cup of coffee in the morning, kind of say hello to the locals, work
Mm.
out, and then just kind of crack on. Like, I would definitely live in Croatia.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's a different way of living,
Mm.
you know. I think travel. I had a similar conversation with my sisters. I'm like, because they're a lot younger than me, and I was just like, you need to get out of Dodge, guys. Just go. They're
Mm.
like, why? What am I gonna do? I was like, fucking anything, man. You know,
Literally. Yeah.
literally. Go wait tables, go clean toilets. It doesn't matter. Just pay your way and dot from place to place. It's the lesson you learn rather than, oh, where did I get in my career? Right. I was
Mm.
like, great that you might get to 45, 50, or even older or younger, right? And you're like, what have I actually done? I've climbed the corporate
Mm.
ladder. I've been stressed out my balls, probably not lived your life. So go do it.
Yeah, I feel really lucky that my parents had a real change is as good as a holiday kind of mentality on life, and they every dollar that they had they put into travel for us and for them. And so I feel really lucky that want for change and want for travel and want for sort of new inputs was just bred into me. Because people
Mm.
always ask, like, you're like, when I was 18, I moved states, and everyone was always like, "Are you scared of that?" I don't know. I feel like that's what I've been raised to just want and to seek out. And I feel so lucky that I don't have fear surrounding that, because it's luck of the draw that my parents were taught me that, and I feel really lucky to have it.
Hell yeah. Like, it's
Mm.
such a cool thing, and you'll have great stories to tell from that. And
Mm.
I think most things I do is for the story. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, you kind of bump into someone, you're all half cut up. It's like 11 p.m. in a pub in the middle of
Yeah.
fucking nowhere, and you just get talking. You're like, oh yeah, this one time in Croatia, you're on a sailing yacht, and you're like, just kind of talking around. You're just like, what the fuck? You're like, I don't know how I got there. Playing Harry Potter one New Year's in the middle of Slovakia, just firing fireworks at each other. It looked like a scene out of Baghdad, and it was just like, how did you get there? I was like, to be honest, man, I ended up in Vienna. Then I woke up, I was in Bratislava. You're like, don't ask.
Yeah,
You just gotta,
perfect.
you just gotta keep going.
That's it. I feel like external motivation is just as good as internal motivation. If that
Mm.
telling stories, I agree, is something that highly motivates me.
Hell yeah, man. They're just fun, and brings a smile to someone's face. And I think comedy heals our wounds. If we get too serious sometimes. I'm massive.
Mm.
Head down. Also, yeah, okay, fine. Let's get serious and get deep. But also, let's talk some shit. Say something fucked up. So you know.
No, I love it. Sitcoms quite literally were my entire childhood. So
Yeah,
I
good.
am such a big believer in comedies, the salva of war wounds.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like most of it is just like 99% shit chat, right? None of it makes any sense. Just talk something. You
Yeah,
know. Here's a question. Deep question though.
I love
What's
it.
your
I'm
what's
ready.
your purpose?
My purpose, I think it's always been to make people smile. I think I'm someone who's really been motivated by. I was a people pleaser growing up, and there was drawbacks to that. But I just genuinely love making other people happy. It's always been a massive motivator in my life, and it's why I love sitcoms and comedy, and that's how I started sort of working in TV and writing. I just love seeing the people around me happy, and that's from my friends, my family, to strangers. Like, I'm always up for a chat with anyone in public. Like, anyone who comes and says hi, I'm like, if I can spread happiness to the tiny circle around me, I feel like I'm doing a bit of good.
It's such a special thing, right? Just seeing
Mm,
someone smile. I think it's the most infectious thing
mm,
on the planet. It's if you see a stranger walk down the street and they smile, you just can't help but feel a little bit of joy. You're like, yo, man, like, they probably remembered a memory or they've heard something. I'm like, that's really fucking cool. I like that. And
yeah.
yeah, just spreading a little bit of joy to people.
Mm, exactly.
We like to get caught up in the big things too much, right? And let's just
Mm.
just focus on the little things. They're the big things.
Yeah, I remember once my uni lecturer, we had this assignment, and it was you had to do an alternative diary. So not just like a written diary. You could, I think one person collected the leaf that was on their front, like the leaves that fell on their front porch every day, and like made a collage of them. So it was some kind of alternative way of tracking time. Yeah, it was a really good assignment. And mine was, I did one thing that made me laugh every day because my teacher had come up to me and been like, Belle, you're always so smiley. You're always so smiley. You've got to show more of the darker side. And I was like, look, there definitely is. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cry like anyone else, whatever. But I was like, and he was like, you can't smile every day. And I was like, you know what? I think I do smile every day. But then my diary was a log of the thing that made me not just smile but laugh every day. And I'm like, if I can do that for anyone else, because yeah, and even I look on that diary that I made all the time. I go back to it, and it just still cracks me up. And so if I can expel that outwards, that would just be paradise for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of
Mm.
the greatest pastimes is just talking shit with your mates.
Oh, there is nothing, particularly like hungover on a Sunday, everyone's on the couch, 2 minute noodles in hand, just the banter is unparalleled at that moment. It is unparalleled.
And yeah, you'd be a fly on the wall and everybody is confused. You know what I mean? It's like this just
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. You're like, yeah, but the sense in it is not the
yeah,
words, it is the like kind of emotion you're eliciting in somebody else, and I think that is
yeah.
so special. That's a
Mm.
really cool assignment, like something that made you laugh every day.
Yeah, it was great, and it just made me. It made me really cognizant of of I don't know, laughter. I don't know quite how to articulate it, but it just made me suddenly really focusing on when something made me laugh, like also acknowledging the person who did it and being like, wow, that thing you said was really funny. And then actually acknowledging it with them rather than just laughing and letting it pass you by. I
Mm.
remember from that 6 weeks or whatever, I remember all of those quotes perfectly. Whereas some of those are my favorite things to repeat, but I might have forgotten them had I not been doing that diary. Like, I can't imagine that those quotes would have stuck in my head otherwise. I might have just let those moments pass me by.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a universal language, right?
Mm.
And in fact, I'll tell you a story. Like before I left Christchurch, so I coach one of the members of FAM, right? So it's functional adaptive movement. We coach people living with disabilities, right? So we just kind of anyone and everyone walk through that door, we'll figure it out on this dance floor, and we'll get a sweat on and a smile on our face. And there's this older gent called Dennis, and he's deaf, right? So we were signing together, and then at the end of the class, I was like, he's always got a massive smile on his face. So I was like, I throw a little joke in there. So I was like telling jokes, but signing to him, and this lad was just barely laughing, right? And it really took me out of myself of just like, oh, you usually, rely on words or maybe facial expression, which we do in sign a lot, right? But I'm then communicating in a different way, and he's still getting that response. And everybody else is laughing because he's laughing, but they don't understand what I'm saying. I'm just like, this is so special.
Yeah, oh, there's nothing better than someone with just a good laugh, and then everyone's laughing. It's just
Belly
so much
laugh.
fun. Mm.
Yeah, you laugh at their laugh, right? In
Have you
a
ever tried
nice way.
that laughing yoga where you just everyone gets in a circle and just giggles?
No,
I've never
I have
done it
not.
before, and I really want to try.
I have not. I don't do enough
Yeah,
yoga. I should do more of it.
I did my first class in ages last night, and I used to be a yoga sort of fanatic, but I've started weightlifting more and doing a few other things, and I had neglected it. And doing the class yesterday, I was like, oh, I just feel like I left it and was like, I feel human again. That was incredible.
Yeah. I'm kind of nervous. I'll be there holding position, shaking like a shitting dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody
Oh,
else
you
will just
will
be
be,
there
but
like,
that's the joy.
I'm just kind of looking around like, guys, anybody else?
Yeah.
No, no, I did it a long time ago. I did a massive injury to my neck, um,
Mm.
concussion, neck, the whole lot, the whole 9 yards. So I was like, basically, I had to go do the basic, pretty much just meditating, right? Yoga. And it really helped. It really helped kind of put me in that parasympathetic state, trying to make my body heal itself. But I've not really gone back since. The last one I actually went into was I accidentally walked into a pregnancy yoga. Yeah, sat down, was all ready, rocking and rolling. I was looking around, I was like, oh, a lot of chicks here with, kind of pregnant. That's awesome, And the lady who was running the class kind of walked up to me and was like, excuse me, uh, you can't be in here. I was like, huh? Yeah, you're not a pregnant woman. I'm like, oh.
Like, can't we all learn from all types of yoga?
Yeah, I'm like, I guess
I
I
ate
could
a good
benefit
burrito
from it.
this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was the last one I went to. I should get back. Have you tried Pilates?
Yeah, love it. Particularly the reformer one when you're on the big machine. Oh,
Oh, that
it's
looks
good.
brutal.
Yeah, speaking of shaking, like I've never shaken so much in my life, but it's so good. I notice I feel like taller for days afterwards. It's so good.
Taller.
Because I'm also in injury recovery at the moment, and it's it's so brutal. But yeah, any exercise that just helps with your basic movement function is just so good.
Mm. Well, I'm 5'10" on a good day, so I could do with a little bit more height. You know what I mean?
Give you an extra inch.
Yeah. Hey, now everyone will take an extra inch.
I set that one up. I fell into that one.
I'll be 6 foot if I never squatted. You know what I mean? It's gravity. I'm compressed.
Yeah, it's gravity. It's tough.
And then I see my dad for the first time in 3 years, and my mom, and they're like 5'9", 5'4", and I'm like, maybe I never would have made 6 foot.
My parents keep telling me to marry someone with long legs, just because my whole family, long torsos, short little legs. So we're trying to, if anyone's got some reverse genetics we want to introduce.
Literally like a fabricated gene pool. No, sorry. Get the tape measure out, not for that reason. Pack it in, son. You're just there, like, no, sorry. Short famer. Well, that's I'm sure there's a website out there, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I like being short. I feel like if I could, how people are always like, oh, if I could, I'd add a few inches. Maybe I'd take an inch off. I like short lifestyle. It's good. Wow. Everyone thinks you're cute. Everyone gives you nice hugs.
I don't know. Sometimes I'll stand on a couple of plates and I'll be like, is this what it's like to kind of be this
Oh
tall?
yeah. Oh, I just at a concert, you're like, wow, you could just see the stage.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then I step back down. I'm like, nah, yeah, don't worry. I'll just
Yeah.
crack on. I don't know. I don't know any different, right?
Mm,
I got three questions. What's
I'm
the
ready.
what's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Ooh. Uh, the crying is just getting all the bad stuff out.
Oh,
I love it because I'm generally pretty happy, and I'd say like once a month or once every nondescript amount of time, I have
yeah,
a big cry. And I remember thinking like, oh, is that something you got to stop? You try to stop yourself crying all the time. Everyone tries to hold it in and
yeah, yeah,
try and shove it down. But actually, I think if you just cry and you really let yourself cry and almost enjoy it in a weird sort of way, it I feel like it actually ends and you actually get it out and get rid of the whatever the blockage was. Whereas when I try to stop myself crying, then I find it lasts, like the sadness or the injury sort of lasts way longer. But if I always say it's getting the bad juju out through my tears.
mm,
I'm just like releasing it out. And I think of like if I was an alien coming down to earth for a year and I get to be a human for a year, you'd want to experience joy, but you'd also want to feel what it was like to go through a big cry and angry and all of that sort of stuff. So that's why whenever I'm crying, I'm just going, just appreciate that this is, you feel so strongly and really let yourself feel it. Don't shut it down.
mm.
Mm.
I like that a lot. I've never heard that
Mm.
before, but I like that a lot, and I think lads can learn from that a lot.
Mm.
I know for me for a fact, I'm super emotional, and like
Mm.
you try and keep it in and bottle it up, and it's just like kind of, Mentos and Diet Coke. It's just gonna go absolutely bananas.
Mm.
So you just fucking let it out, dude. You know,
That's it. A big green flag for me whenever I'm dating someone new is in if I see a guy cry, I'm always like green flag. It's
it's you need
mm,
to start watching people coach disabilities. Oh my
yeah,
God, everybody's just there, but with like a massive smile on their face, and you're like,
yeah,
what is this? It's like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, we're doing something. You're playing like
yeah. We're
bloody.
making it happen.
Oh, it's unreal. But that whole
Mm.
that whole thing is mega. But yeah, that's a cool piece of advice.
Well, thank you.
I like that a lot.
Imbued upon me from my mum. I think.
Legend.
Yeah,
Give
she's
her
a
a
legend.
wholehearted high five.
Yeah.
Well done. Rockstar. What's the what's the worst piece of life advice you ever received?
Ooh, worst piece of life advice I've ever received. That's a great question. Um, Let me have a look. Let me take a second to think. Worst piece of life advice I've ever received. It was my university was an arts university, so it was a bit wacky. We got a lot of some of it was great, some of it was bad. Take what you want, leave what you don't want. And the teachers were like, what's your box? Put yourself in a box and be grateful that you've been put in a box, and then you can break it. Later in life you can break it. It was like, start with your mold, and then, yeah, right, it sounds bad. As an 18-year-old, I was like, oh yeah, write that one down. But now I just think this was obviously in reference specifically to acting, like, what do you look like? Just do that. And I think
Mm,
nothing in my life that's come that is great has been from me playing into the stereotype or trying to listen to what I think other people think of me. And that's sort of
yeah.
what they were saying was like, how do people see you? Do that. And
Mm.
that's, yeah, opposite of good advice.
Yeah, no, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna go do my thing,
Yeah, yeah,
Just,
I know.
reinvent yourself, play different characters, literally. I mean, with the whole
Mm,
acting thing, right?
mm,
Um, yeah, I got a very, very close friend of mine, and she's an actress, right? And she would explain to me what it's like. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, this whole industry is absolutely bizarre, but also phenomenal and so interesting. And you just like, yeah.
mm,
And the way you've got to kind of mold. And I'm like, just sticking in one niche doesn't make sense to me because you're narrowing the opportunity for you to make money, right? And make a living.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. And I think people will always put you in a box and the box will never fit you. Like it'll always be too small or a bit wrong or something won't be right.
So you're
And
rough
like
around the edges.
as a kid, I feel like I would always try to anticipate what people thought of me and try and either play into that or whatever. And now I'm like, even if you can feel someone's kind of judgment on you, it's like, no, just don't even listen to it, brush it off, and keep going with whatever you were doing anyway. And it's a much better way to live.
For sure. That's why I'm not on mainstream radio. I can't not swear. I'm not PG, mate. It's not going to happen.
Right. And that, if that's your brand, you don't stop swearing.
Just be yourself. That's what I don't care. Like, what did I write? I wrote something down. I was like, don't be who you think I'll love. Be yourself, and I'll learn to love that. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all I want you to do. So why the fuck would I do something different? And people don't like it, great. Like, there's a lot of other people. Like, I'm not for everybody. See you later. But
that's definitely a lesson I've learned in the last few years, though. I think when I was younger, I was such a I wanted to make sure people had this view of me. So I would always try and kind of not manipulate my image, but try and be the person I thought other people wanted. And as a result, either I was really unhappy or I'd lie, and it took me ages to sort of unpick that and be like, it's okay if people don't like you. Like that is completely okay. And it's completely allowed, and just let them, and then go be with the people who do like you.
100%. 100%. Just do your thing. I say it to people all the time. Like, just do your thing. Like, I don't care what the fuck it is. Just tell me what you're going to do. Like, truthfully, and do your thing. I'm just going to appreciate that, What's 3 words you tell your younger self?
3 words I tell my younger self. Don't be quiet.
Oh.
I have an insanely loud voice. It just has always been that way. I don't know if I can't hear it right. I think it doesn't rattle in my bones the same way other people's voices do in their own head. So I just have no concept when I'm being loud or when I'm being quiet. And for stage, it's great. I'm so loud in theatre, and I don't even have to try. But in life, I used to have such a complex about the volume of my voice and not taking up too much space in public and not wanting to upset the people around me because I was, being too loud. And then, one day I was just like, this is the volume of my voice. And if people get annoyed by it, that is the volume of my voice, and it will not be changing. And it's like you can almost hear when someone's judging you in public, like you feel it and you go red and you just want to be quiet and be small. And it's just, now I'm like, nah, if I feel that feeling, I go like twice. I'm like, get out. No, this is my space as well. Like, I get to exist here, and I get to exist here with my loud voice and my, whatever it is that's a bit different.
I love that. Do you think?
Yeah.
Fuck everybody else. Do you think?